time for another pastrami unveiling. This one's just ready to open up, so we're gonna want to show you my new cutting board too. 2 foot by 3 foot. So now we don't have any tiny thing to work on anymore. Try not to get all the background in there. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap this and unveil it. All right, so here we go. You can see the juice down in there. Beautiful bark on it. Got the jiggle. Everything's good. We'll slice in this bad boy, pull it out of the foil, and do the deal. Okay, so this stuff was so tender, it actually came off the smoker this way. I was very careful. I saw it separating to pull it up, and it still just came off. As you can see, it's just so tender and just pulling off like a corned beef. So, I also wanted to show you the juice that's left in the tray. There's the juice in the tray. It's really nice to pour that back over the meat later. Alright, so I'm going to turn this around so I can work on it a little bit. You can see this thing's like the Matterhorn, the cap on it. It was 18 pounds, just over 18 pounds. And again, you can see when I pulled it out, but I'm going to flip this around to work on it, and having this nice big cutting board's huge. So I can just move everything. Yeah, I don't have drip rails, but that's okay. Anyway, we're just going to cut this down the middle right now so you can see it. Wow. I just kind of fell apart there. So you got, see, look at this. I'm going to need to cool it down to slice it when you use a meat saw. It's the best way to do it, but you can see this stuff is just crazy. Crazy good. And look at this. I can't pick, look at it, it's so gelatinous. Look at that. It's amazing. See how it's, look at this half. It's beautiful. Big old piece of fat running through there, but that's okay. You got good meat on the top and the bottom. It's gonna make some good pastrami all said and done. You know, if not, if it's a lot of it's gonna end up shredded, that's okay too. But you can see how beautiful it is, how nice and moist everything is, and the juice on the tray and the juice in the foil. So this was just over 18 pounds, 21 hours. That's probably one of the longest smokes I had. Normally I pull at 203 and I say probe tender for a reason, because in this case it was just at 198.5, and I pulled it because when you run the probe, pull the probe, if it's soft, you run the probe in the different meats, it was soft. So that's what probe tender is. So this got pulled at 198 after 21 hours, and then this is a 6-hour rest. So all this meat that I just pulled off is a little bit, but this other meat came off with the smoker. It was stuck to the bottom, it just fell off. I put the forks all the way under the bottom to lift it rather than stab it, and it just, you can see it's still wanting to do the same. So what we're going to do is we'll slice a piece of this, I think right now, maybe from this half, so let's slide that one out of the way, just so we have something a little more stable. You can see the bottom's coming out of that. I mean, it's all good to me. It's all soft, it's beautiful, but you always want to do the finger test too. And again, I like using the meat saw because it, look at that, just falling out, because it makes it even nice thinner cuts. But just for this test, you can see it's just falling apart. Falling apart goodness. A lot of crumbly stuff down below. You don't have to worry about it. It's good for hash, whatever else. And it's all good. So we'll just clean that up. And that's the deal. So there we go. Look at this. This is fall apart. That's mostly fat there, but just all shreds. Very shreddable. No real effort to it. But this one, this pastrami, this brisket, definitely came out a different, totally different type of brisket than I had the last time. It's about 4 pounds heavier, at least. No, I think it was 5 pounds heavier than the last one. Last one came in just over 13. And the whole texture, everything was completely different. But again, just simple pepper, brown sugar on top with coriander, ground coriander seed, and I added a little extra secret sauce, not sauce, but actually dry rub to it this time that I use for other stuff. It's not actually a dry rub; it's just an ingredient I added to it, and that's one of my little secret toppings. This was 13 day this time, smoked through the 14th day. Last one ended up 14 because I was just busy, ran out of time. This one was actually 13-day brine, and then onto the smoker for the 14th day product. So 14 days, 2 weeks total into this from beginning to end. So we got a good shredded pile here. I wanted to show before we left. We were already done with the video, so. And then we got our 2 stacks here, but I flipped them over. And you can see there's some more shreddings just by looking at where I cleaned up the cuts. So it looks like we're going to end up with some, even though it's smoked, more or less like corned beef there in this pile. And then we're going to have our pastrami on the top end of this with a thick fat layer you couldn't see going through the middle. So we're going to get another one here going in the next week or less. Get it brined, and we'll do another one and another one. I want to be stacked with pastrami slices, so I never have to have a want for pastrami again and not have any. So that's actually the end of the video now. Again, look at nice and jiggly. Some parts are harder than others. This one came out way different than the last one we did, but I still think it's fantastic. It tastes fantastic. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy my cutting board too. Enjoy. So we're in our slicing process. You can see the pieces are coming out pretty nice. So I thought I'd just stop real quick and show you how we do this. I made it in my last video too, but these slices I'm going to leave a little thicker. This one's that's about as thin as I want to go right there. You can see some of these other ones. They're nice. They're beautiful slices. I'm cutting across the grain. So again, this is a small old school slicer I inherited from my parents, and it's all we need right now. But you know, if you're looking to do this yourself, you know, not spend $1,000 to $5,000 on a cutting saw, a meat saw, this is the way to go. You can get these for $100, $200. But like I say, this one's vintage, and I used it in my last video. So we just squared up the side. Obviously, we've already been cutting, and the end right now because it was getting a little too wide, cutting across the grain. So let me show you how that's gonna go. Just pull that all the way back in there, make sure it's flush, and cut away. Make sure again it's tight against there. There you go. And there you go. So those pieces we just cut right here, you can see they're nice, the perfect slice. When they're heated up, they get really gelatinous and nice for your sandwich. Okay, so this is the second half of the pastrami brisket, and you can see the different coloration in the meat we're slicing. So, see it comes out really nice there. You can see I'm cutting across. That was the original cut I did yesterday in the meat. We're doing it today because it's been chilled. The meat's chilled. So you got to do this when it's cold. It's when it works best. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so we ended up with 4 plates full. And I'm going to weigh them out here in a second. So this is plate 1 on the left. Plate 2. Plate 3. And that's how they were carved up. And this is all the hash. So we got easy shredded hash back here. More chunky, and then some bits that were left over from the end cuts. So that's all going to be for like breakfast and mixing it with potatoes and all that. So without further ado, I'll add it all up and let you know. Okay, plate 1 is at basically 3.5 pounds. 3 pounds, 5 ounces. And that's taken out, yes, the tare for the plate weight. Okay, plate 2 is at 1.5. So 1 pound, 15 ounces. Okay. Plate 3, 2.2, so 2 pounds, 2 ounces. Okay, and the last plate with all the hash stuff is we'll just say 110, so 1 pound, 10 ounces. Just rounding up. We forgot to pull one out of the fridge, all the shredded stuff from when we cut it up yesterday. So we put the juice back in. That's what the white fat chunks are, just to keep it moist. And that's basically, we'll just say 2.7, so 2 pounds, 7 ounces for all this shredded. Just going to toss it back in its bag it was already in and just vacuum seal it. So that's all of the weight for there. Okay, here it is, all said and done. So left to right, the first 2 on the left top and bottom are the first cut, and then the second cut's in the middle, and then all the hash and the shredded. So there you have it. I'll give you the totals at the end on my voiceover and show you the calculator totals on the meat. So that's into this pastrami, all wrapped up and ready for the freezer. Hope you enjoyed my video. Take care. Here I'm just showcasing my ThermoWorks thermometer. You can see it's magnetized. I'm sticking it in there before it's actually cooked under the brisket. But I wanted to highlight that. I like the ThermoWorks. It's got up to 4 areas for probes, and it's got a little smaller unit that's wireless. So you just set that on the barbecue magnet, and it's magnetized. You got the other unit inside to keep track of everything. It's pretty nice. Just make sure you change the batteries often, and also the probes, like every 6 months. All the probes and all these different brands are just garbage. You just got to keep changing them out every 6 months to a year, depending on how much you do it. But make sure you change the batteries before every cook. Long smoke, because they won't last, and you don't want the numbers to be off. So here I'm just showcasing the brisket and the rub I put on it. It's just chopped up, or dried peppercorns, and they've been crushed, and then a regular pepper, crushed coriander seed, brown sugar, and then I have my secret dry seasoning I like to put on the base. Here's the 13-day brine that we have going on. Whole garlic cloves in there too, and some dill. And I finally did get a lid for that. You can get that unit that's Rubbermaid 18 liter in the lid, all on Amazon. So going backwards, pre-brine, showing you what it looked like. I like to just document everything a lot. Got the brine sitting next to it in that picture, and that one too. So this just came out of the package, as you can see. Just under $100 from Sam's Club. So an 18.17 raw weight brisket, after it was smoked, was 11.44 pounds. That was 63% retained. Total loss of 37%, or 6.7 pounds of loss after it was done smoking. There you go.